Welcome to KeyboardBlues.com. This is a quick overview of some of the video highlights from Blues for Piano and Keyboard, Chapter 10. I know your feet are jumping now. Now, if you're like me, when the blues is cooking, it makes you want to get up and boogie around the room. Now, in this edition of Blues for Piano and Keyboard, I'm going to teach you exactly what I just played, note for note. So this is going to be quite an extensive lesson. Now, your left hand is going to study something called the walking bass. Now, you can hear the bass player behind me. He's walking around as I'm talking. Now, if you were watching on the video, you probably noticed that the left hand was doing this walking bass technique on the piano. It was walking around in between all the different chords. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you for your left hand. And for your right hand, there's going to be 5 blues riffs that we're going to study. 4 of them are going to be brand new. So, new stuff to chomp on. In fact, if you want to rewind that video and watch it again, watch the right hand. It's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But again, I'm going to teach you exactly how I did it, note for note. Ooh, that's a lot of stuff to learn, but you're going to really enjoy this lesson. Let's dig in. Now, the left hand has got a sad story. Everybody kind of neglects the left hand, especially in the keyboard world. I've heard so many students say, man, I don't know what to do with the left hand. It just kind of sits down there. Just seems kind of useless. But today I'm going to teach you something a little more. Because you see, in blues and gospel music, the left hand is so very important. It drives the music along. Now in this course I've taught you already a couple left hand licks. In the full version of this lesson, this is the spot where we go through and do a recap of the previous left-hand blues techniques. And then we introduce new left-hand techniques. Here's an excerpt of the video where we're looking at something brand new in the left hand. Now the walking bass is a little different. It never stops. You hear that? It's always constantly driving the beat. Always moving between one chord to another. This is a great technique to put in your toolbox. Okay, let's dig in and really study this. Now we're going to talk about options today. When you're studying the left hand walking bass, you've got a lot of options. For instance, let's take a look at the first 2 chords of this song. I'm going to lay down my burdens down by the riverside. What a great thing to do with your burdens. Okay, so you start with the chord C. Lay down, right? My burden down to F. Okay, now C comes on the first beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then F. 2, 3, 4. Now, the walking bass generally does quarter notes. Now, if you remember from the original course, quarter notes are 1 note per beat, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that actually is the simplest form of a walking bass. Just repeating the note. Now it's not really that interesting, but it's a good place to start. You could start that way. Listen. In the full lesson, we actually spend quite a bit of time on the left-hand technique. It's something that's really overlooked in a lot of piano lessons. Specifically, we go into a lot of detail about how to put together a solid left-hand walking bass. In fact, I'm going to jump way ahead in the lesson now.
where we're right at the end of the section where we're studying that left-hand walking bass. Here's an excerpt from that video.
4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? They're just quarter notes. On each beat there's something going on, whether it's a chord tone or whether it's a dissonant passing tone leading somewhere. Man, this is a lot of great stuff you're learning. I want to throw you a little extra bone today. We're going to talk about something called a rhythmic kicker. Listen to this. And did you hear that little extra note right at the end of beat 4? I'm going to do it real slow. Listen. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Did you hear that note? It kicked in just at the end of beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Now what I'm doing is I'm throwing one of the notes from the line in right at the last half of beat 4.
Now, although the left hand gets lots of attention in this lesson, I want to give you some video samples from that portion of the lesson where we're studying the right hand. In fact, we're going to look at 5 blues riffs. There's lots of material in here to study. In fact, we're getting a lot of technique as well as music theory. Like every one of our lessons, you'll be able to see each riff in detail, up close, in slow motion. Here's a sample of the video where we're looking at blues riff number 4.
Riff number 4 isn't made up of a whole bunch of different notes. It's simply, in the context of C, it's a C triad. It's got some sliding going on, right? It's got a rhythmic kicker that keeps happening. And it keeps rocking back and forth between the triad and some passing tones, right? And if you just have your right hand, if you just sat down on a summer day and did this, you know, a monkey could do this. Now, to take a simple riff like that, where you're just rocking your hand back and forth, and catapult it into a fantastic rhythm and blues riff that's fun to listen to and a lot of fun to play, you've got to start shifting all the accents around. That's really what makes it come to life. This is super important. Let me show you what I mean. Now, this riff is based on what's called triplets. And just like a tricycle has 3 wheels, a triplet is made of 3 separate sections of the beat. And typically, kind of old school, you count it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you see it on the screen there, and you can hear that I'm accenting the first part of each triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and sounds like you're going to waltz Matilda around the room. It really doesn't have much to do with the blues. However, when you start throwing the accents around, it gets kind of crazy in your head, but it really makes for fantastic riffs. Now look on the right side of the screen. You can still see 4 beats. However, I've put different sections of the beats in bold, and you count it like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now, it doesn't sound real musical yet. In fact, when I show it to you on the keyboard now, you may say, nah, it doesn't sound real musical there either. However, when you put it in context with everything else, it really lights up the stage. First, let's go through slow and count out those strange accents. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Stop the video and go try that. That will snap your mind, unless, you know, you're probably a genius, but it snaps my little mind. But now let's bring it up to speed and really pull those accents out, and you'll see that it starts to come to life. Here it is. All right, it's starting to come to life, but now let's go a little further. Let's put it in context with the song that we're using in this lesson. Now, the tempo is really cooking, and if you look real carefully, you'll see that riff number 4 is immediately followed by a riff from back in Chapter 8, the long, extended static riff. Let's take a look. This has just been a very quick overview of some of the highlights from Chapter 10 from Blues for Piano and Keyboard. The complete version of this lesson is very detailed. In fact, we go through every chord, technique, and riff, note for note, in slow motion. If you'd like to see more, come on over to keyboardblues.com. In this website, there's a wealth of online piano and keyboard lessons that you can dig into right away, including this lesson. Before you leave this site, though, would you do us a favor? If these lessons are valuable to you and you'd like to see more, would you just take a minute and leave a comment on the site that you're on right now? Or you can simply rate the video. Either way, it really helps us and enables us to post lessons just like this one, free of charge. Thanks!